All right, folks, it is December 11th, 2025, and we have another XRP market update coming at a critical moment as prices chopping back down, presenting another buying opportunity for XRP under $2 today. Not much of a discount on silver as silver continues to smash all-time highs, and boy, has it been on a beautiful run. And for anybody who thinking that this silver run's finished, I would remind everybody that we've had a deficit as far as silver production for 5 years running straight. Okay. And also for weapons of war, silver is also used, and we are praying for peace, but just observing how silver is used in so much these days, we expect that deficit to actually continue. And as more people just want to hedge against the debasement that is taking place of not just the US dollar, but currencies around the world, it's a move to digital currencies as a hedge like Bitcoin, and I would rather have XRP. And then for precious metals, we've loaded up on silver, and boy, has that played out just perfectly. But let's get right on into the update. I have a lot to cover, jam-packed and lined up, ready to go. If you guys appreciate what we do here every Tuesday, Thursday, we run up a live show and we do Q&A session at the end. Make sure you guys have liked this video. Help us out by sharing it out far and wide. Make sure you have subscribed and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our updates. And let's get it rocking and rolling. Is BlackRock going to be up next? That is the question. We have the 21 shares XRP ETF that went live today. This brings our total to now 533 Act ETFs. And that does not include the Rex Osprey, which also is a spot ETF under the 40 Act. And that also doesn't include the basket index ones that we just got from Bitwise. Franklin Templeton's going to come through. And then even I think True Social just has a index that's going to include XRP as well. But where is BlackRock? Where is BlackRock? Remember when the Fed launched Not QE in September 2019 to tame the repo market crisis? And 6 months later, it was doing 1 trillion daily injections. Good times, and the good times are coming back. I hope you guys are prepared. What am I referring to? Well, we're talking about the 40 billion of treasury purchases that the Federal Reserve announced yesterday. That's right, they're going to be buying short-term treasuries over the next 30 days, and that's starting tomorrow, okay? And this is after the Treasury showed up last week and bought 12.5 billion of their own debt, equaling their largest buyback in history. And so when I titled this morning's update, Fed confirms XRP stimulus incoming, of course, folks, are so focused on price. Folks are so quick to want to jump on me. And they say, that's clickbait. No, it's not clickbait. The Federal Reserve yesterday just announced a form of stimulus. Do we need to waste any time debating QE? Repo management, reserve management, call it whatever the heck you want. Okay, they can make that money printer go burr in a few different ways, essentially, right? And so what we do here is we just simplify it down, and the question's so simple. What do we stack? What do we stack? Well, you see the charts. Silver smashing to all-time highs. XRP, one of the best performing cryptocurrencies after the election. And then despite it being down 45% from the high that it went to this year, that's a consolidation over about a 4-month period that's about to wrap up, and we're going to be moving back up, and I hope that folks don't get left behind. When I put out the title, when I put out the thumbnail, I back it up every single time because I'm not here to clickbait you. I'm here to give you real analysis, and we put it on the line every single day because it's so important for the average person to be able to stay caught up to speed and to have a chance at taking advantage of the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. I value your trust more than your money, and that's why we're willing to put it down like we do. Every single day, we bring you the content that matters the most, and we back it up every single time. So when I say stimulus is arriving, I'm just reporting what the Fed just announced. I'm reporting what just took place last week with the Treasury. While the Twitter talking heads and the CNBC Bubble Vision talking head pundits are debating, is it QE? It's not QE. Right? You got the economists on CNBC, they're pushing up their glasses. This isn't QE. What do we need to stack, right? That's all that matters. And folks, the stimulus is coming. What happened last time we got that stimulus? Well, if you would have bought silver during 2019 when it was trading below $17 per ounce for months after the stimulus was announced, after the Fed announced that they were going to be helping the repo market solve the liquidity crisis, and if you bought the low during March 2020 simulation event, you immediately got 153% appreciation by August of 2020. If you held those bags until now, as we hit new all-time highs for silver up at $64 per ounce as I record this update, you rode up silver 440%. Just this year alone, year to date, silver is outperforming the S&P 500 by 6 times. That's why I'm warning of a stimulus pump incoming. See, when the retail masses are crying and whining and complaining, that's when you should be buying. When we're in extreme fear for a month-long period like we just were in November, that's when you should be buying. The more people you see crying in my comments means the more money you should be allocating to these assets. The more fear there is being portrayed in the media, the more you should be buying these assets. We know what route they're going to choose to get out of this problem. It's quantitative easing. It's stimulus. Remember the bank term funding program that they announced after the banking crisis in 2023? Now, that wasn't technically QE, but what did it lead to? It led to another massive run for precious metals, and also that was the precursor to our cryptocurrency. Now, what did XRP do? We have seen this before. We're seeing it again right now. But in September 2019, the Fed announced some reserve management measures, quote unquote, not QE, right before the big one hit. Buying these XRP lows gave you 10 to 15x upside in less than a year. For all of you guys who don't have patience and you need gains in the next 12 months, which isn't soon enough for some folks, they want to flip a bag next week. What's the 10x crypto this week, Zach? Let me know. I'm not here to tell you what the 10x crypto is this week. I'm here to tell you what the 10x crypto is over the next 12 months, and it's XRP again. I hope that you don't miss this. Now, if you rode up XRP from the lows that we had during that period of 12 to 15 cents up to that $3.66 high that we hit this year, that was a 30x swing. 3,000% swing. So no, it's not clickbait. You better believe it's backed up by hard data, real facts, real analysis, and I hope that you aren't going to miss this one. Now, sliding on over, we see a lot of eyes are on Japan, and a lot of people are now talking about this carry trade unwinding, right? The reverse carry trade. I see a lot of misinformation. I see a lot of confusion. Once again, I'm going to skip the steps over here. For those of you guys who, understand what's taking place, what's the solution? The solution is Japan needs stablecoins on the XRP ledger. That's what they need. Just like in the United States, you're hearing Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent say we have $3 trillion of demand for stablecoins. And we need $3 trillion of demand for stablecoins because we have trillions worth of treasuries that are needing to be rolled over, that need to be bought up. We need demand for them somewhere. This is why they passed the Genius Act before the Clarity Act, is because it was a matter of national security. It's a matter of saving the reserve currency status. What does Japan need? Well, those bond yields are rising up. Why? Because there's no demand. Nobody wants to lend money to the Japanese government. Can't blame them. I don't want to lend the money to any government, as a matter of fact, especially not Japan. But that's why the 10-year is at the highest level in, 20, 30 years? Same with the 20, same with the 30-year, same with the 40-year bonds out of Japan. How do you soak up demand? You issue stablecoins on the most liquid ledger in the world, the XRP ledger. Now, my bet has always been SBI Holdings. That's always been my bet for who was going to tokenize the Japanese yen on the XRP ledger. But we will see. This, to me, is the solution for Japan. And if it's not going to be the XRP, and by the way, it doesn't need to be just the XRP ledger. They should issue it just like Ripple did. Issue ROUSD on Ethereum, issue it on XRP, issue it on Solana. Now, I had Grok break down stablecoin regulations in Japan for me, and here's what I was able to pull up. Let me slide this over for you guys so you can see. They passed stablecoin legislation in June of 2023, but then they added further amendments in March of 2025, where issuers can now allocate up to 50% of reserves to low-risk assets like short-term Japanese government bonds with maturities of 3 months or less. Those are those short-term T-bills that Japan needs soaked up, right? It's a big problem. Calls for a big solution. And as we've been saying for quite some time, XRP is the one-stop shop solution for the debt, currency, and liquidity crisis. Who's going to show up to tokenize the Japanese yen on the XRP ledger? I don't know. But, if I was sitting at those tables, that is what I would be pounding the table and saying the path forward should be, is that we need to tokenize Japanese yen, whether the central bank does it or whether you have private entities like SBI Holdings do it. You actually want both. See, that's the beauty of America, is that we have private stablecoin issuers, and then we have our treasury. Now, we shouldn't have a Federal Reserve. I see a lot of a lot of folks concerned, where's the CBDC ban? We should have a CBDC ban. But let's get to the heart of the issue. We shouldn't have a central bank at all, right? When we have these conversations about the CBDC and banning it, I say that's a great icebreaker. Why don't we just take it one step further and just get rid of the central bank completely? That would solve the problem real quick, wouldn't it? But the beauty of this in America is stepping in the right direction, is that they're allowing private issuers, even fraudsters like Tether. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I shouldn't call them a fraud. Let's just trust their audited reports, and let's assume that Tether's on the up and up. Let's just assume. Let's run with that. They're allowing good and bad actors to issue US dollar derivatives in the form of stablecoins to soak up the treasuries. And that's why they passed it in the Genius Act that they need to be backed by treasuries, right? Cash or treasuries. And so this is what's helping soak up demand for US dollars. And we definitely need that. Over in Japan, you have to ask yourself, what's the solution? Well, we just saw Michael Gayed, who is an ETF fund manager. I had him on the show last year in September, and I saw him start talking about the carry trade in Japan a few years ago. He was one of the first people that I saw talking about it. And I got him on the show last year, had a great conversation with him. And at the time, he wasn't really fond of XRP yet. He was, we could relate in our, distrust for Bitcoin. But, taking it one step further to XRP, he wasn't quite ready to go that far yet. But now I saw that he just put out an article today talking about how the first big use at scale of XRP by banks could be in Japan. To me, this might be the only solution out of this crisis for Japan. Slide on over, let's continue. Congress urges the SEC Chair Paul Atkins to allow Bitcoin and crypto into 401k accounts immediately in a new letter. So this would allow up to $9 trillion that we have in retirement accounts that can't get access to crypto today to finally get access. Now, my whole thing, and this is why I partnered up with iTrust Capital, is because I wanted to let our community know that you can get access today. You can roll over that 401k, the 403b, 457, TSP, or other retirement account you have to an IRA with iTrust Capital today. We have it right here. You can fund it, like I said, through the traditional IRA. A few different options there. Make your contributions and get started today. You don't have to wait for Congress to pass legislation. You don't have to wait for them to allow you, and some folks are even getting backlash. I interviewed the CEO of iTrust Capital today. That interview with Kevin Maloney will be dropping tomorrow morning. Stay tuned for that one. I think you guys are going to really appreciate that. For those of you guys that have had questions about their services, their products, and they're working on XRP yield, they're working on XRP lending, they're working on it all. In fact, they've already rolled it out for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and they're moving full steam ahead. But they were really ahead of the game, allowing folks to get access to their retirement accounts to cryptocurrencies and precious metals. So use my link down below and get that $100 funding bonus when you use my link. And then if you want to learn more, just show up tomorrow morning, and that interview with the CEO of iTrust Capital, Kevin Maloney, will be airing. And I think that we'll get a lot of your questions answered in that session. Let's get into the Ripple XRP news because we got some bangers lined up tonight, folks. Mark your calendars. We're taking it back to New York City. I will see you guys back in New York October 27th through the 29th. That's going to be 2026 Swell. Not only are we returning to New York, but we're also coming back bigger than ever and combining Swell and Apex. Apex is the developer conference for the XRP ledger. So they're bringing everybody together, right? And by the way, the Swell conference was just a room full of bankers. That's all it was. It was incredible. I couldn't believe. I am literally, sitting across the table eating lunch with these bankers, and they're telling me that they enjoy my YouTube channel. Oh crap! The same bankers that we're always poking fun at. But now, and they are laughing there with me too, and they're going to be laughing all the way back to the bank because they've been trialing all of this. The big hiccup for them has been rules of the road and regulations. And now that they're getting it, right, you're going to see them start flipping that switch right after that Clarity Act gets passed. They're ready to hit the ground running, right? The banks already got their wheels spinning. They're burning out. And as soon as we flip that light green, they're going to be gone. And this is the same conversation that I had with Kevin Maloney here today. He was talking about meeting with the CEO of Charles Schwab, meeting with the CEO of some of the other biggest investment advisors in the country. And it's all the same conversation. They're all coming in. And they had to wait till the rules of the road were set. And so now they can sell the ETFs. Now they can let their clients get access. Now they can start to issue ETFs. Right, but the next step after the Clarity Act is them using it at scale. But this is going to be so beautiful next year at Ripple Swell Conference in New York because they've combined their Swell Conference, which was typically just an institutional conference for their banking partners, and then they're combining it with the Apex Conference, which is for the developers, and then they're also opening it up for the entire community. The XRP family, as our good friend Brad Keim says, come on in. So our community of builders, financial leaders, and industry partners will be together under one roof, creating an unforgettable experience. Save the date and look out for more event details in the new year, including early bird registration pricing and agenda updates. We will see you guys back in New York City. And we already are seeing the acquisitions getting signed. This has been ongoing, but it is finalized. The deal with Rail, which is the stablecoin company focused on B2B payments in the stablecoin space. And I think that the number I heard was they're moving about 10% of all stablecoin transactions that are moving cross-border across the world. 10%. And so multiple billion-dollar acquisitions just in the past year. And then we see on top of that, they've now added Rail. Right? So you got G Treasury, that's the treasury management. Then you add Hidden Road, which is now Ripple Prime, Palisade, custody, and then now Rail, which is another layer, another pillar when it comes to the stablecoins. How about a bridge over to Solana? Here it is, Hex Trust. Huge news for the XRP ecosystem. Hex Trust is launching and securing Wrapped XRP, a one-to-one backed representation of native XRP issued on Layer 0 Core OFT standard to unlock DeFi utility across multiple blockchains, starting with Solana. So if you're looking to put your XRP to work in some DeFi, this looks like Hex Trust is going to be opening that up. Okay, it's a one-to-one backed asset redeemable for native XRP held in Hex Trust regulated institutional grade custody. It launches with 100 million in TVL, ensuring deep initial liquidity from day one. The core utility is WXRP makes it easy to use XRP alongside Ripple USD, ROUSD, a regulated US dollar-backed stablecoin, as a trading and liquidity pair on supported chains. Hex Trust calls this a move to expand liquidity and utility between XRP and ROUSD. It's launching on Solana and other major chains and will expand multi-chain DeFi use cases via Layer 0's Omni-Chain Fungible Token standard. Initial chains, Solana, Optimism, Ethereum, Hyper EVM, plus future integrations. No need for unregulated bridges, enhancing security and reducing counterparty risk. This is for not just institutions, DeFi protocols, and retail and merchants. This launch extends a proven wrapped asset model to one of the world's most established digital assets, opening secure, compliant, and major new avenues for XRP holders in the multi-chain world. Folks, I've been talking about this hub and spoke model. This is what the XRP ledger has right now going for it. and you're starting to see it accelerate. And at the hub is the liquidity on the XRP ledger, right? That's the main ledger in the center is the XRP ledger. It's going to be one of the best ledgers for liquidity. And we're going to focus on liquidity. We're starting to add smart contract programmability and additional functionality. That's great. But all of these bridges to Flare, to Zahao, to the EVM sidechain, Hextrust over to Solana, Axelar connects us with 60 plus blockchains. And the list goes on and on and on. Corium, right? All of them. They're all spokes, part of this hub and spoke model that's adding utility to the XRP token holders who have been waiting to deploy their XRP in a regulated way. Now, excuse me, the big thing that I'm waiting for is for regulations to be established. And then we want to see track record, right? We don't want to be the first person to take our XRP across the bridge. The nice thing that I like about this one is they're starting with 100 million TVL. And so the serious players are showing up and they're front loading liquidity with 100 million to get started, right? This is a prime example of the right way to do it. And you're starting to see the Flare ecosystem is really getting built out right now. I just deployed a bunch of Flare and FXRP earlier this week. Way too complicated, like just being straight up, right? This is what I do. I'm looking across the board at all of the providers and I just report back here. And when it comes to the DeFi providers, I love Flare. I'm rooting for Flare. I was very frustrated with Flare. I'm not as frustrated anymore because they're live with FXRP, but I wasn't really, impressed with how difficult it was to deploy my FXRP in my Flare throughout the ecosystem. But I did it anyways because I wanted to make that sacrifice so that I could report back to you guys on what I found. I'm also hoping to get Doppler Finance on the show here soon. I got to meet Max from Doppler Finance at the Ripple Swell conference. Had a nice, pleasant conversation with him. And I've been very impressed. They just rolled out a transparency report. They're really, providing updates on a weekly basis on the distributions from their funds. And they're making about 3 to 4%. And I haven't moved any XRP over there with them, but I'm going to. I've decided that what the heck, what do I have to lose besides a couple hundred XRP? So I'm going to go throw them a couple hundred XRP as well too, just to go through the process and see how simple it is. But as simple as we can make this, that's what's going to be to make this a success. And when I met with Robert from Zaman, I asked him the first question I had: when one click deploy XRP for yield? And he said, very soon, because that's what we need. XRP family, our community here skews a little bit older, right? We're not the youngest crowd in crypto, which is positive. That's why we have so much money. Our community is so strong, right? We have mature people with money, a lot of money. And this is with XRP only at $2-3. Just think about what happens when XRP goes to where it's going. We'll be able to change some lives and really do some beautiful things in the world. But maybe not the most tech savvy community, right? And we're definitely scared to deploy our XRP. And so we need the process simplified, right? I was sitting here with my Bifrost wallet in one hand, and I went to every single Flare liquidity pool, lending protocol, every single option. And I was just sending 20 FXRP there, send 20 Flare over there. And I'm just going back and forth with my Bifrost wallet. Accept the transaction, send it. If it gets lost, that's part of the process, right? I didn't lose any, but we'll see what kind of yield we end up getting, right? And I'm excited to report back on you guys, for you guys later this month on all of the different ways that we are starting to see yield opportunities arise for the XRP community. And like I said, when I was speaking with the CEO of iTrust Capital today, Kevin Maloney, it's at the top of their list. He said they have over 5 billion assets under management and over $1 billion worth of XRP. Significant XRP holdings. In fact, I can't remember if he said $1 billion worth or $1 billion or $1 billion XRP. Might be $1 billion XRP. It's a lot. Okay. And so they're working quickly to get yield on XRP. Yep. Thank you, Shannon. Thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, guys. So I'm almost done. Just a couple more points. I've tried to get through this update here. It looks like I'm going to be done with my update in about 30 minutes, which is pretty quick. And then we're going to get into rapid fire Q&A. So if you guys want a question, just give me 5 more minutes and then we'll be right on into it. I just have a couple more points to go. This is big. This is massive. And I'm going to take a sip of my tea just to calm myself down before I cover this one, folks. Already got a sweat going. Okay. Today, the DTCC announces that they received a no action letter from the SEC to tokenize certain DTC custodied assets by leveraging blockchain. DTCC aims to bridge TradFi and DeFi, advancing a more resilient, inclusive, and efficient global financial system. For those of you guys who don't know about the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, they settle up quadrillions per year. You heard me right. Not billions with a B, not trillions with a T. We're talking about Q, the 17th letter of the alphabet. And boy, do we love that letter. That's right. Quadrillions with a Q. And this is just one institution, right, that's settling up hundreds of trillions and even quadrillions on a yearly basis in securities clearing. Real settlement, not just messaging like Swift. This is real settlement of securities. And this no action letter from the SEC opens the door for the DTCC to start to move all of this on chain. This is a big one, okay? This in combination with the Clarity Act that's about to get passed in Q1 of 2026 green lights the process for moving everything on chain over the next couple years, just like our new SEC Chair Paul Atkins is talking about. This is not hypothetical. This is not speculation. No, you're not crazy for talking about quadrillions with a Q. You're not a crazy. This is reality. And I remember even hearing it on the stage at Ripple Swell. And I was taken back. Because I remember thinking, we were called insane for talking about trillions coming on chain. For talking about tens of trillions getting tokenized. Hundreds of trillions getting tokenized. We were whack job loonies for talking about quadrillions. People are here talking about quadrillions and they try to shut me down for talking about these numbers back in the day. And here I am sitting at Ripple Swell conference in a room full of bankers, listening to some people from traditional finance on stage talk about and mention quadrillions. Listening to, the likes of Franklin Templeton, Sandy Cole, head of innovation, talking about, yeah, of course we're going to tokenize, tens and hundreds of trillions of these markets, but we're also going to be tokenizing new markets like IP rights and sports ownership. We're going to democratize markets that have never been accessible to the regular person. Now, to take this one step further, and this is the big one that I'm waiting for, is when they remove the accredited investor standard. That's how you truly democratize this process. Where retail isn't just exit liquidity on Robinhood. Oh, you get to buy 3 shares of the new IPO. Yay. Exit liquidity for Wall Street, That's a joke. The real money's made in the private equity before they go public. But who is that reserved for? Only the accredited, only the sophisticated, only the qualified investors, only those who are already rich. While the poor and the middle class get to buy 3 shares of it on Robinhood. It's a joke. But this is all coming together so perfectly right now. And guess who is tied in at the DTCC? Can anybody take a little guess? Well, that would be Ripple Prime, baby. Formerly known as Hidden Road, but now after being acquired by Ripple, has been rebranded as Ripple Prime, the prime brokerage that already is moving $3 trillion of settlements per year. $3 trillion of prime brokerage movement per year. This party's just getting started, folks. They now have direct access to the DTCC, a $4 quadrillion market. Now, the regular average person who's frustrated with XRP price is going to say, Zach, this is all great news, but the price is down, and so I want to cry. Well, that's what the comment section is for. Feel free to leave your comment. Feel free to smack the thumbs down and say that despite all of this great news, you still are upset. Just like we tell our kids, it's okay to be frustrated. It's not okay to be mean. But leave that comment down below, smack that thumbs down for me, and tell me, Zach, I'm still mad, but I'm still holding my XRP. I'm still buying more XRP. You know, all these people is, you know, XRP's toast. I say, show me your short. Can I see your short position? And I know that nobody's short because the open interest is near zero. There is more people that were short than were long. And but relatively speaking, the open interest is very low right now. People are scared to short this thing. People are scared to sell this thing and give up. But it's easy to complain. It's easy to cry. It's free to leave a comment. But at the end of the day, people are only selling if they have to. And, that's part of the broader economy that we've been breaking down. But for all of you guys who are still here with me, I just want to first off say thank you, but you're going to be thanking yourself. People will come back and say, people already are, saying thank you to me for helping them stay the course and staying in the game and staying focused on what matters. But you're going to thank yourself for, at the end of the day, making the decision to hold on, for making the decision to actually double up your bags, just like I did last bear market. Boy, was it frustrating. You've been in XRP for 4 months, 6 months, maybe a year, and you're frustrated? Come on in. Come on in. Because we've had frustration with XRP for me since 2019. I've had FOMO for XRP since 2019. I thought we were going to $100 in 2019. Like a madman. I was spending every last dollar I had, eating top ramen and investing in XRP because I thought it was going to $100 or $1,000 or 589 back in 2019 and 2020. So come join the party. We're all frustrated. But guess what brings us together is that we're still holding the sucker and we're not letting go. And like I said, you're going to thank yourself, not too distant future, by the way. You're going to thank yourself next year. For those of you guys that hold out for 5 to 10 years, you're going to thank yourself. You're going to say, I almost gave up. I almost quit. But I stayed the course, held my bags, or even better, you doubled and tripled up your bags. And that reward is coming. And it's another 10x for XRP to $20. And then eventually we are on our way to $100, just so we're clear. I want everybody to hear me loud and clear. I believe in a $100 XRP. I firmly believe that we're going to $100. I don't think it's this year. I don't think it's next year. But we're on the way. And those who prepare for that today, between now and then, just like my mentor Dan Pena says, he who gets focused first and stays focused longest wins most. That is the game. Not to be distracted by the shiny meme coin. Or if you are, you take your gambling casino money to the meme coin, right? Don't get over leveraged. Don't give up on crypto, right? Despite the hardships that we face in life. I just had my heart surgery last week. You never know, right? Are you going to make it to the other side? You're going to find out. I remember as I was going down, they were playing, I forget the song, but I just remember thinking to myself, well, at least I'm going down listening to a good one. And I left my family with a lot of cash, a lot of silver, and a lot of XRP. And they know what to do with it. I'll have to let wifey take over the YouTube channel if I don't make it out. But here we are. And I get another 10 years to go before I have my next hard operation. So that's how I'm chunking up my life right now. I think about the last 10 years that I had when I was just an idiot, back when I was 21. Not a clue in the world, but I had started the process. I started my business while I was working a job. I left the job to go full-time into my business, scaled that up, started making good money there, started hiring more people, started to create a real business that wasn't just me. And I think about the process concluding last year when I sold off that business. And just like I did when I had my job, I started this business, media, while I still had my other business. And I was working all day. And then I'd come home at night and we'd run up live shows. And I'd go live every single day on TikTok for hours in the midst of all of it. You guys would be rolling around with me in my work truck while I had a TikTok live going. Because I wanted to get the truth out there. We wanted to build. And we showed up every single day. And last year, basically on the 10-year anniversary of my first business, I completed the sale of that business. And I think about the next 10 years. And ask yourself, what are you going to achieve over the next 10 years? Whether XRP goes to just 589 or it goes to 10,000, what are you going to achieve? And if you don't prepare for it now, right, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So I urge you to stay tapped in, to stay focused on what you can control. Nobody said it was going to be easy. In fact, anybody with real analysis has been telling you it was going to be tough as hell. But the reward is going to be better than anything you could have ever imagined. And I think about last week as I'm rolling in, heading into my surgery, I said, wow, when I was 21 going in for surgery, I was just focused on what am I going to do this weekend with my buddies? What stupid decisions are we going to go make? This time I head in, I think to myself, wow, I'm heading in with a beautiful family. I have a lovely wife, amazing wife and mother. Just finished her degree while being pregnant with my third child. And she goes out and gets her early elementary education degree, preparing to homeschool our beautiful children. I think about the 2 children I already have and another one on the way. About to go do the 3D ultrasound and get to go see that baby boy. And now my wife says that maybe we need to try for one more. And my only thing is, well, we have to see what XRP does. If XRP starts to really hit, sure, we can do a couple more. And I think about just how bright our future is. It's not going to be easy. Our enemy is relentless, and our enemy is willing to play dirty. But it's only going to make the reward that much more great. And so reward yourself. Don't give up. Stay in the fight. And on that note, let's move on into rapid fire Q&A. I appreciate everybody for stopping by. If you haven't already, please make sure that you like this video, share it out far and wide. And like I said, we'll have I Trust Capital interview airing tomorrow morning. You guys won't want to miss that one. And then real quick too, I know a lot of people have been asking me about legal and estate planning, setting up holding companies for your digital assets, for your real estate, for your businesses, setting up trusts, whatnot. I'm very excited to be working with Mark Kohler's law firm, KKOS Lawyers. And I'm actually going to be having Mark on the show later this month. So stay tuned for that. We'll get a lot of your questions answered in that session. If you have any legal or estate planning questions, send them my way. You can just email office@zachrector.com, and that's how you can get in touch with me and let me know any of your questions. But for legal and estate planning, if you go to my website, just go to the community resources tab. You'll see the legal and estate planning tab. You can set up a free 15-minute consultation with them, and they will get you set up for all of your legal and estate planning needs. And I actually just use them to hire a new accountant as well too. They don't do accounting work in-house, but they have a network of accountants across the country. And so I was able to find an accountant in my state that I've just hired for doing my taxes as well. Now let's go rapid fire Q&A. I appreciate everybody for stopping by. I'm checking it real quick. We're looking at our commodities. Gold at 4,300. Silver just below 64. It almost got up to about $65 per ounce. Oil right at $58. We'll be watching that one. Okay, let's take a real quick look at our XRP. Started to recover off the lows that it went down to here today. On the 15-minute chart, we're zoomed in. XRP did tap down here to $1.98. This is why it's so important to get your orders in. We bounced back up to 205. A little bit of chop right here. Just to give you guys the quick call out. I do think that we're going to see one more sweep down to about the $1.90 level. So full transparency, I've been prepared for that with an order at $1.91, and I've had that buy order set for about 2 weeks. I'm still holding on to it. I still think it's going to come. We have a Bank of Japan interest rate decision on December 19th, and so it looks like we could get that volatility. We could get smacked up. President Trump says we're about to start striking land in Venezuela here shortly. We continue to pray for peace, but this is what we're up against. The aliens are probably going to arrive next week as well too. And so that's going to be an opportunity to buy these assets once again on sale. And the level for XRP that I'm watching is $1.90. Looking for that level to hold up. And the level below that I'll be buying at would be front running the $1.60 level. Not scared at all about going back down there if we do. That's going to come and go very quickly. It's not going to last. So I would encourage you guys to get set up on these platforms. I have orders sitting on Caleb and Brown. I have my XRP longs over on Coinbase, and I'm just positioned and ready to go. I'm going to add to my XRP long, and then on Caleb and Brown, I'm actually going to be picking up some XLM as my plan on this next pullback. So I'm expecting us to get smacked up one more time here in December. Don't be surprised. Don't be shocked. Just have your orders ready to go because the recovery will begin shortly thereafter, okay? Let's go rapid fire Q&A. Thank you everybody for stopping by. If you haven't already, please make sure that you like this show. Help us out by spreading the word far and wide. And let's check our super chats here real quick. Vishal, why is the XRP price still going down after so many ETFs? And do you think it's going to go down more because of the reverse carry trade? What is your prediction for 2026 XRP? So I think I pretty much just answered it. The volatility that's going to come from Japan making an interest rate decision December 19th. Venezuela, which is going to be a strategic military operation. I don't expect that to be a long, drawn-out war. Yes, I do think that we're going to get one more sweep down to about $1.90. I have my order sitting at $1.91 to front run that level. Don't get greedy, by the way. If we're going to go back down to $1.90, I like to place my order at $1.91 or $1.92. You always want to be front running everybody else to make sure that your order gets in. Don't be nitpicking a penny here or a penny there. Trying to pinch pennies. That's not how we capture the opportunity because liquidity runs dry. The sell side of the order book runs out and then we start to move back up. So don't try to get too fancy with it, okay? As far as 2026, yeah, my base case is going to $20. The targets that I had for 2025, I've moved to 2026 because all of the fundamentals are still lined up. The inflows are still set to come in. So my analysis hasn't changed. The timeline was extended because the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit went till August. That shouldn't have happened. That wasn't part of my 2025 timeline. Because the case went till August, the ETFs for XRP didn't go live till November. And then we're still waiting on the Clarity Act to get signed. So for those three reasons, I was wrong. XRP didn't go to $5. XRP didn't go, and maybe we'll go to $5 by the end of the year. That'd be great. I'd be very happy to see XRP up at $4 or $5 by the end of the year. That would be fantastic. But I was wrong. 20 to $30 was where I thought we were going to be at this year. We didn't make it. Those are the reasons why. Does that mean that we're not still on the path? No, we absolutely still are. And that's why my targets remain for 2026. By the way, if anybody thinks I'm going to stop making predictions, you're in the wrong place. I am here to make predictions. I am here to share my analysis, and I am here to make money. And you don't make money by playing it safe, by not making any calls. Okay? If we wanted to do that, I would go work at CNBC and I would just read off a teleprompter. That's not what we do here. Okay? Now, Are we going to get every call right? No, absolutely not. That's not the point. The point is we want to make money on the margin. So if XRP only goes up to 10, 15 bucks, do we make life-changing money? You better believe it, right? Nobody's going to be crying about that. But you have to have targets, right? It's like as we approach the new year, why do people emphasize setting goals? Because you have to have direction. Without direction, you're lost. Okay. RG America, thank you for the 2 spot. Rocket Man Iowa. Well, another week has went by and I've only had to fight off 5 aliens. Do you think they will stop trying to steal my XRP and price prediction for Q1 2026? Keep chugging along, man. Glad you are here. Thank you. It's the $5 to $10 level in Q1 of 2026. I'm taking this one step at a time right now. And you guys have heard me break this down if you've been listening to me for any amount of time. The first sell block, the first sell wall that we have to bust up and break through is everybody who has orders sitting to sell XRP from 5 to 10 bucks. These are OGs that are going to sell off 5 to 10% of their portfolio. These are people that are done with XRP, fed up, and going to full clip out their whole bag. And these are short-term traders that will buy in after we get confirmation that we're moving back up. Like BC Backer even he said that he's going to buy back in above $3. At least this is what I heard last from BC Backer. Maybe he's changed since. And I don't know if this is his trading bag and if he has long-term holdings, but I just heard him say that he's going to wait to enter back into XRP after it goes back up above $3 and goes to 340 and then back tests the $3. That to him will be confirmation. And you're going to get a lot of trading guys like that will wait for confirmation. They'll wait till it goes back above $3 and then they're going to sell off that trading bag at $6 and $7. And after I've had so many one-on-one conversations, I've talked to so many different people, I know how big of a sell wall we have. It's not a small one. It's a sell wall, and we will break through it eventually, but we got to clear it out. So as far as Q1 2026, I would look for that $5 to $10 range. I think we fall short of $10 because there's so many people waiting to sell. Clear that out, and then we'll be well on our way to double digits for XRP. And I have 15 to 20 bucks. 15 to 20 bucks is my base case. By the way, that's just off of ETFs. That's not including utility from institutions using this at scale. Okay? And yes, the aliens are coming for your XRP, so make sure you secure it. The aliens can't get your XRP if you have secured it in your self-custody properly, or if you have it in institutional grade custody, which is where I keep my XRP. Okay? Stay safe. What is your XRP price prediction for 2026? Thank you for the super chat. I just answered that. Thank you. We have a 20 spot here from this person. Can you do a tutorial on managing an LP? I added to a pool on SparkDex, and now my pool is imbalanced. Not sure what to do. Managing an LP position. Yeah, so I will be reporting back. Like I said, I just deployed a bunch of my Flare and FXRP. I've already done some testing in the XRP AMM. I made about 70% cash on cash in the XRP Ledger AMM with XRP and Casino Coin. But I had impermanent loss where I could have made 400% on XRP during that time had I just held XRP, right? And so these pools can get unbalanced, and usually that's because one asset's going to be moving, and so your pool is going to get imbalanced. But ultimately, if you want to maintain a position in both assets in that pool, then that pool will balance itself back out, right? That's what the AMM's doing on the XRP ledgers. It's automatic. And with a lot of these other ones too, they're intended to automatically rebalance. But what that means is, for example, if you do XRP ROUSD, right now, and then XRP goes up to 10 and 20 bucks, the pool is going to be selling off your XRP into ROUSD the whole time, the whole way up. And so you're going to, at the end of that scenario, you would end up with way more ROUSD than you would XRP. I'm breaking this down in the most simple terms so that you guys can understand it. So the time to go into a pool like that would be when XRP's topping out. XRP goes up to 20 bucks. You deploy XRP into the pool while XRP is coming back down against ROUSD. You're earning more XRP. Okay. But if you go into it now, XRP appreciates, you're going to be earning more ROUSD. It's going to be cashing out into ROUSD for you as XRP appreciates. Okay. But I'll do a tutorial on AMMs again in how to manage, liquidity pool position and what to look out for. We really are looking for these AMM providers to get a little bit more clear on the data. What's the expected return going to be on a weekly, monthly, or a yearly basis, right? What's the APR? I think that these platforms are still working out some of the kinks as far as that reporting and aggregating that data. And as that gets better, it'll be more, it'll be easier to tell how much you're going to be making on these pools on average, but that can always change too. That's the thing about AMMs. Somebody crying in the chat. Looks like we got a few, yeah, that happens. And I tell my mods, as long as people are being respectable, let them complain, let them cry. They can say whatever they want. It's all good. Shannon says my eye is starting to twitch reading some of these dum-dums. Oh boy. Stay safe out there, folks. My man Nick showed up with a big one. Where is it at? Nick. I want to make sure that I got you right there. Nick showed up with $158.90. I bought the dip at $1.98 today. I'm not selling, Zach. Keep preaching, brother. I got your back. Need some sleep because I called you Jake on my first super chat. Oh, there you go, Nick. There you go, brother. A lot of people confuse us. That's okay. Jack Jacobson, thank you, sir. Thank you, Zach. You're the best. I appreciate that. Thank you. Nick, you're the best, man. God bless you. Zach, you got to check out Michael Guyad's song. Okay. Terrible. Honest take, terrible. Just terrible. It's just terrible. Not a vibe. But I'm here for it. The good, the bad, and the ugly. XRP rappers, XRP singers, XRP AI songs. Solana wants to tweet out 589. Solana wants to tweet out the castle. God bless it. Let them pump it. Let them take it viral. I like it. I like it. I like the effort. I do like the effort, but yeah. Didn't he drop like 3 songs? I'm glad that Michael's seeing the light. I'm glad that he's seeing the light on the XRP. He missed the boat on getting the XRP ETF in there. Well, we should have got him in there on that XRP ETF. Nick, did you drop you dropped 2 super chats for $158.90? Nick, I love you, man. You're amazing. Bro just dropping stacks up in the chat just to let me know he bought the dip. God bless you. And I'm telling you guys, this is what makes the XRP family so strong. We are so stubborn and relentless when it comes to this asset. We will not stop. Appreciate you, man. That's incredible. You guys inspire me every single day. Nick, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Okay, let's go rapid fire. I'm reading the chats right now. Reading the chats. Crypto market structure bill? Yeah, Q1 2026. Zach is my go-to channel. Hey, I appreciate that, man. Thank you guys. I'm excited. We're going to be on the Paul Barron podcast tomorrow too. And I really like what Paul's been doing lately, bringing out some good interviews, great content. This is a team effort. I've always said that. I'm not going to be everybody's favorite flavor, right? That's not what makes us a success. Makes us a success, right? We need multiple voices. And I said this the other day. We have the most organic marketing in the world. It's a case study that should be studied for decades to come. The organic marketing of XRP. Nobody paid me. Nobody's paid anybody else out here. Ripple doesn't cut a check to influencers. The only influencer that's ever been paid by Ripple, I think, is Ashton Kutcher when he went on the Ellen DeGeneres show. For those of you guys who haven't seen that, I think that they did cut a little check to Ashton. I respect that, that's great. Zach, do I believe the ship in the BG123 picture is Zebek? No. None of the riddles have anything to do with any other crypto. Not XLM, not Zebek. Now, apparently those ships are called a Zebek. So I see where the connection is made. Don't get me started on the Proton Bros. And now I'm going to upset them because I call them the Proton Bros. But don't get me started on the Proton Bros. And they think, don't get me started on the Fuzzies. The Fuzzies who were trying to say that David was tied into their project and all this. Don't get delusional out here, okay? Zach, do you see how a wild 3-digit end of year is possible? Or is it impossible in your mind? Nothing's impossible. It's just very improbable. It's highly unlikely. I was on a TikTok live earlier and I said, I'm just going to say this in a nice, soft, quiet voice because I don't want to upset anybody. No, we're not going to $100 this year. Just going to say it nice and softly so we don't rub anybody the wrong way. I want to believe that Santa's going to show up for Christmas too. Right? The numbers that I have, because in all seriousness, I'll give you a real answer. We need 100 billion to 300 billion of inflows into XRP conservatively to see a $100 XRP, or we would need something out of left field to happen as far as a supply shock. And even with that, you still need the inflows. Like even if there was some sort of supply shock scenario, even if all of the OTC was drained, you still need a lot of inflows. Like to the tune of 100 billion at least to see a $100 XRP. You're at a $6 trillion market cap. And so if you put a multiplier of 500 to 600, that's where I pull 100 to 200 billion of inflows. Okay. So, when I'm talking about what does it take to get to $100, I try to quantify it with real numbers based off of the data that I've been gathering from the inflows. A lot of people have been asking me lately too. This is good that you brought this up. What's up with your multiplier, Zach, all these inflows into the ETFs and the price hasn't moved. Correct, because all of the inflows into the ETFs have come OTC so far. Now, either the OTC continues to get funded by Ripple, and we might not see a price impact until we get inflows coming in on centralized exchanges again, or we see the OTC get cleared, and then the ETFs and other institutions have to start going to the secondary market, right? And then you would start to see an impact on price. But in the month of November, I tallied it up for the multiplier update. There was $808 million of outflows in the month of November. That's on centralized exchanges. So this is what moves the price that we see on the public order books. The $803 million of inflows that came into the ETFs in November, just in the second half of November, because the XRP ETF didn't go live till November 13th, we had $803 million of inflows, but it was all OTC. So that's not going to move the public price. That's not. And now, by the way, that doesn't mean that there's a separate price, like a private price or a private ledger price or an OTC price. If anything, the OTC price could be slightly discounted, very slightly. But it's the same. It's the same XRP. There is no private ledger price. There is no dark pool price or OTC price. That's a big discrepancy. If anything, you'll get a small discount, maybe. Okay. And even at times, you could even see a premium. If people really want that XRP, you're dealing with somebody else on the other side who says, you know what, XRP is trading at $2 right now. And if you want my billion XRP, I want $2.05. And if you want that XRP bad enough and you want to buy it OTC so it's not seen, you might be willing to pay a premium. So the reason why, and by the way, it's not, the multiplier is not working. The multiplier is a simple equation. It's just math. The math is the math. And I broke this down. 808 million of outflows in November. Our market cap dropped by 41.14 billion. And that's where the monthly multiplier for November was 50.89x. 50x multiplier going down. So the math is the math. The multiplier is the multiplier. All we do is we just input the data. Now, let me remind everybody, because this is very important to understand. XRP is going to go up in price. Start off with that. It will go up in price. Just like Bitcoin did. Bitcoin pumped 220%, despite all of the Bitcoin for the ETFs being bought OTC and on the centralized exchanges, there was 24 billion of outflows. So some of you might be asking, well, how did it go up? It still managed to go up in price because when inflows did come in, they came in so aggressively that they bid up that order book with the ability to actually move the price up. While at the same time, as the price moves up, there's more money for people to take off the top. So from January 2024 to October 2025, on centralized exchanges, 24 billion of outflows. That's the net outflows. So that's combining all the inflows, combining all the outflows. There was 24 billion more outflows from the centralized exchanges during that time. At the same time, there was 62 billion of inflows into the ETFs, but it was all OTC. And so what I did is I combined ETF inflows, subtracted 24 billion of outflows on centralized exchanges. I divided that by the change in market cap, which was 1.76 trillion. And the number was a 46x multiplier for Bitcoin during the 1 year, 9 month period from January 2024 till October 10th when it topped out at 126,000. You had positive inflows on the ETFs. You had negative outflows on the centralized exchanges. So we subtract that from the inflows to give us our final tally of inflows. Divide that by the change in market cap. 46x multiplier. The math is the math. The multiplier is the multiplier. It's just a simple equation. We just change the inputs. And it tells the story. But mind you, 220% pump for Bitcoin. And you see how XRP has performed compared to Bitcoin recently. We're going to get a 200% pump for XRP. 100%. Or I should say 200%. Plus probably another 200%. Plus another 200% probably. It's coming. Because when the inflows do come, they come in so aggressively where it goes, people are buying at $2, $2.10, $2.20, $2.30, $3, right? $4. It's so aggressive. And all this is a function of is, do you have a buyer at the next high price? It's like an auction. If you think of it like an auction. And this is why it just blows the mind of the market cap bros, how XRP was able to grow a $100 billion market cap in the month of November 2024. Remember, in November 2024, the multiplier for XRP was 800. Data. It's just data. The multiplier in November 2025 was negative 50x. Big difference. But and the reason why this is such great data, and I've really just been focused on this over the past year, is because it gives you understanding. Why did XRP go down? 800 million of outflows. That's why. Why is XRP going up, and how did it go up so quickly? How was 100 billion in market cap added? Because there was an 800x multiplier, because people were bidding up that order book so aggressively. That's all this is a function of. Market cap is just a number too. What was the last price somebody was willing to pay for it, times the circulating supply, there's your market cap. There is no artificial cap. Oh, XRP can't go to $100 because that'd be a $6 trillion market cap. Well, you're going to find out. And I can't wait for this, because the market cap bros, they already can't understand how XRP has a $100 billion market cap. They're going to lose their mind when it goes to 500 billion, when it goes to $1 trillion, when it goes to multi-trillion dollar market cap. They're not going to know what to do with themselves. How could this be? Well, it's because you're comparing a technology and a network to a stock. You're comparing XRP to Tesla, Apple, Google, Amazon. Right? You need to compare XRP to the value of the internet. Compare it to all of those internet companies combined. Right? It's the fundamental settlement layer. And if you want to talk about a real comparison in an asset that actually could achieve the market cap of gold, it's not Bitcoin, it's XRP. Because just like gold, XRP can be used as a store of value, and it has additional utility. Bitcoin's not, well, never say never. Maybe they, allow Tether to survive and pump that up, but boy, does it have some catch up to do. But I would say that XRP reaches gold's market cap before Bitcoin does. In fact, I've always said I don't see why Bitcoin needs to go to the market cap of gold. That's something that the Bitcoin community has always said. And I just say, why? Gold is a store of value, but it also has utility. Yes, Bitcoin has benefits, sure. but can you get as many people to buy into it as a store of value as you can gold? The whole world respects gold. The whole world doesn't respect Bitcoin, despite what stories and make-believe and, stories they want to tell themselves while they sit around in a circle on Michael Saylor's yacht. And so that's why I've always said, if anything, XRP hits the market cap of gold before Bitcoin does. What is the market cap of gold right now, by the way? 29, basically 30 trillion. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we did get a couple more super chats that came in here. Does YouTube now allow payout in stablecoin? Yes, I saw that they just added that. I did see that they added that, so maybe I'll be able to take super chats in RLUSD. I'll be able to collect my YouTube check in RLUSD. That might be fun. Yeah, that's another step in the right direction. Love to see it. Salvador Ramirez, thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Lots of blessings and good health. Amen. No, Nick, you didn't. You didn't say it, Nick. Are you trying to get me in trouble, Nick? Proton Bros lives matter. Nick, are you trying to get me in trouble here? They're going to be coming out of the woodwork. Oh, boy. Shout out to the... Yeah, this guy says, yes, the moderators do a good job allowing freedom to say without disrespect. Amen. Amen. That's what we do here. Adults only. Real ones only. Proton Bros, we still allow you to come in. We charge you a little extra at the door. There's a little proton tax we hit you with. But we do let you in. We let you have a couple comments, but then we have to put you back in timeout. I'm just joking. It's all jokes. It's all love. I'm rooting for the Proton Bros. I really am. That's classic. Oh, boy. You guys make me laugh. Jesse, Zach, I'm late to the party. Are you even bullish on ZBCN with the connection between XRP and Solana? Are you even more bullish on ZBCN with the connection? Why would I be more bullish on that? Because of the connection with Solana. I mean, is Zebek on Solana? Yeah, that's right. It is on Solana. So I could actually see that connection. That's a fair point there. No, my bullishness on ZBCN remains the same, Jesse. I still think that it'll run back up to half a penny to a penny, just like it did earlier this year. I think that it'll do another run up that to those levels again. This partnership, I don't really see a direct connection, but maybe there is something there. And a lot of folks have been talking about a potential partnership between Ripple and Zebek. There's, real interesting, I hate to use the word synergy because I feel like that's such a corporate, just garbage term to use, but, maybe a good acquisition. Maybe a good acquisition for Ripple. We saw that they acquired Standard Custody, and then they acquired Medico. Medico they acquired for the software, and then Standard Custody they acquired for the licenses. So maybe there is a potential acquisition there. I believe that we would see a Ripple acquisition of Zebek more so than we would see a partnership between the two. I feel like either Ripple will try to tie in their own solution for streamlining payroll and payments. But, with that being said, Zebek has some big hitters in the payroll industry that sit on their team. ADP. ADP is the biggest payroll provider in the country. And they have a couple people on their board that are from ADP. if I'm not mistaken. So Zebek I remain bullish on. I'm just, kind of sitting back and watching now at this point. Yeah, and shoot, maybe I should pick up some more Zebek, honestly. I'll be thinking about that. I need to pick up some XLM again. And then I'll probably pick up some ZBC on 2, maybe if I take a second look at it. And last time I picked up and traded Zebek on Caleb and Brown. And that worked so well because I picked it up. The day I bought it is the same day that I set my sell order on Zebek. And our community made a bunch of money. I said it was going to go to half a penny to a penny. And it went to 3/4 of a penny. I sold off my bag at half a penny. But just, yeah, our community made a lot of money on that one. And maybe we should just go run up Zebek again. Yeah, I'll go take a look. I'll go take a look and see. Maybe we'll do a Zebek follow-up. What do you guys think about that? Let's do a Zebek follow-up by the end of this year. I'll get that out to you guys. Okay. SHX, yep. I like SHX. I did sell off my SHX. SHX down to 3/4 of a penny. Yeah, it might be time to watch Zebek run, SHX run back up. There's a lot of good coins going on sale right now. But the thing about these coins is they need sentiment to shift back bullish, like in a big way, because they're not holding as well as XRP is. They're really bleeding out. And so that's why I'm not holding those coins. That's why I sold them off. And I've been watching them, is because they're not holding with the level of strength that XRP is. And they don't have ETFs. They don't have digital asset treasury companies. And they don't have real institutional adoption like XRP is going to get. And XRP already has. So for those coins, it's really a momentum play. Thoughts on Velo? A lot of people have asked me about Velo. I haven't seen big institutional adoption on Velo when I've looked at it. It's the XRP of Asia. That narrative doesn't really fly with me because XRP is already dominant in Asia. You know what I'm saying? XRP is worldwide, and in the APAC region, Ripple is dominating. Like, they're really established over there. So the whole narrative of Velo being the XRP of Asia, let's see some contracts signed. When will ROUSD be listed on Coinbase? That's a good question. Yeah, Coinbase is holding out because they get 50% of the profit from USDC Circle. So Coinbase doesn't want to have the conflict of interest there and doesn't want to hit their own pocketbook by offering ROUSD on their platform. Eventually they will. They will give in. But it's kind of a stablecoin war right now between Circle and ROUSD. Who can be the most legitimate? Tether's just off doing what Tether does, and you know. But guys, I've really enjoyed tonight's live show. It's been a lot of fun. Like I said, tomorrow I'm going to be dropping the interview with the CEO of iTrust Capital. So if you guys have been considering iTrust Capital, using them for their IRA retirement fund product or for their closed loop system that they have with the premium custody account, we get a lot of your questions answered in tomorrow's interview. I have them linked up at the top of the description, and you can get that $100 funding bonus when you use my link. I'm looking at setting up my Roth IRA next year and then moving that to iTrust Capital. So I'll be using them myself starting next year. But I was very happy to partner up with them. I really believe in what they're doing. And then after speaking with multiple people from their team at Swell, and then speaking with Kevin, their CEO, again here today, just really assured that they are spearheading the effort as far as servicing the XRP community, keeping everything secure, looking to provide yield, looking to provide lending for XRP. They're really on the ball and moving in the right direction. And so very happy with what I heard from Kevin today as far as new products that they're rolling out, and just explaining their business and everything they have going on over there. Very impressed. That interview will be dropping tomorrow morning. And then I also will be getting interviewed by Paul Barron tomorrow. And I'm not sure when he's going to be airing that, but I'm sure over the next couple of days, as soon as that gets shared out, I will share that out with everybody far and wide. And I always have a good time on Paul Barron's podcast. That'll be a good time. And then if you're looking to join our Discord community, a lot of people have been asking, how do I get into the Discord? Sorry, I don't plug it enough, but you sign up through Patreon to get access to Discord. We would love to have you in the family. Come on in. If you have any trouble getting access to Discord, just let us know. We'll have someone from the team help you out. And once again, that's all at my website, zachrector.com. Sign up through Patreon. That's your way into Discord. And then you can get access to all of the content over there. You get access to me. And then every Saturday, we do a weekly call at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, where you have a chance to ask me coin reviews, business, investing, life, anything that you want to throw at me. I will do my best to answer it. I don't give financial advice, but I give my opinion freely and unfiltered over there, which has saved a lot of people a lot of money and a lot of headaches. And that's why so many people value that community over there amongst all of the other great people that we have in the community. Very proud of what we've built over there. So get tapped in. By the way, too, if you're looking to get any of the XRP family merch to you by Christmas, we're already kind of past our window. So we can't guarantee that it'll get there by Christmas, but we will do our best to get it shipped out right away. And then watch out. We're going to be running a special sale for the end of this year as well, too. So stay tuned for that on the XRP family merch. We also have some new stuff on the way as well. For anybody who has questions about the merch, just email us merch@zachrector.com and we'll get it all sorted out and get your order to you there. Okay, I appreciate everybody for stopping by here today. On the way out, if you appreciate the update, could you smack that thumbs up for me? We'd greatly appreciate that. Come on back tomorrow morning for the interview with the CEO of iTrust Capital, Kevin Maloney. And I hope everybody has a fantastic Friday. We'll see you in the next one. God bless you all.